Welcome to our annual awards dinner. This is our opportunity to recognize the achievements of our officers, our telecommunicators, our volunteers, and our citizens for the contributions that they have made in the past year for the preservation of lawfulness, peace, and order in our community. It is an opportunity to be reminded of the selflessness, the determination, and commitment of each of those to be awarded tonight. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize several of our city officials who are sharing this event with us tonight. To be arriving shortly later, the Honorable Mayor Linda T. Johnson will be coming, Councilman Mike Duman, Councilman Leroy Bennett, City Manager Selena Cuffey-Glenn, and Assistant City Manager Patrick Roberts. Thank you for your presence here tonight and your continued commitment towards public safety in Suffolk. Now we're going to take a moment to bless the meal, and then we'll dismiss by table. We can bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight to honor men and women who have made a commitment to the preservation of justice in our community. We thank you that we have been kept safe, and we thank you that you give wisdom, and we thank you for the opportunity to lift these people up tonight and to recognize their accomplishments. Thank you that all good gifts come from you. We ask that you bless this food tonight. Thank you for those that prepared it, and it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I'd like to also recognize Vice Mayor Charles and Mrs. Brown who have joined us, as well as Councilman Barclay, and Mayor Linda Johnson has arrived along with her husband Jesse, so welcome. And I would like to invite the mayor up to the podium for her remarks.
Good evening. I've been in a lot of places today and in 3 different cities, and I can tell you there's nowhere I'd rather be than right here with you tonight. I wanted to tell everybody thank you for joining us tonight for the Suffolk Police Department Award Banquet. This is always a night of the year that we all enjoy coming together and listening to all the wonderful things that have happened within the department, and especially listening to all the great stories about how they ended and how they ended well because of our policemen. On behalf of the members of the Suffolk City Council, who I'm joined with this evening over here at the table, and I think they've already been introduced, but I would like to thank each of you for coming out this evening to celebrate with us. It's a pleasure. It's always an honor to be with our men and women in blue. You know, as the mayor, I get to go do a lot of different things and represent the city at all kinds of events, and I can tell you that this is one of my favorites, because it does indeed highlight the people that make our city exactly what it is. I want to congratulate ahead of time this year's honorees who have done exceptional work for the Suffolk Police Department and for our residents. You know, we always talk about quality of life. Quality of life starts with feeling safe and knowing that someone is there to protect you. So that's the number one piece, and that's what we're here to talk about tonight. This evening, we will recognize the officers of the quarter and the officer, supervisor, and communications operator of the year. It's also an opportunity to acknowledge those individuals who have received departmental commendations and noteworthy performances. Their awards will show what they have done for us throughout this year. And additionally, there will be awards for life-saving and community service, because we all know it's a partnership. It takes our residents working with our safety officers to make things go together. We will also express the appreciation to our citizens who have assisted the police department in the many capacities. So in short, we're here tonight to celebrate. We're here to take the exceptional moments and take the employees and the volunteers and raise them up to say to them, thank you from our city, and for making this a safer place to live each and every day. So as we gather to honor all of the people that will be honored tonight, I also want to take a moment to stop and appreciate the entire department and the volunteers for all that they do, both in a professional capacity and also in your personal lives, because it all comes together. You can't be a professional at the level that you all are without making it your personal life. And also at this time, I want to thank the families, because you really do give up a lot to let the people with you that you love the most come and help our city every day. The City of Suffolk is fortunate to have dedicated public servants like the members of the Suffolk Police Department. We are so fortunate to have residents who are willing to work in cooperation with the department. And it's through the partnerships that we've created a city where people can live, work, and play in a safe environment. On a personal level, I have the good fortune to interact with many members of the Suffolk Police Department. And I can attest to you that you all are some of the best ambassadors that our city could ever have. Your mission statement, law enforcement excellence and public service through partnership with our community, that embodies the heart and the soul of every member of our force. Now, I want to say thank you, but those words seem really shallow. They're not enough. They're just the words that we so often say. But when you consider the high level of professionalism and devotion of our police personnel, starting at the top with Chief Bennett and going all the way down through the ranks, and knowing that each and every one of you have the heart of Suffolk in your heart. And I would ask, since people will be watching this, I would ask that all of our members of our citizenry find someone in the police department this week and stop and say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for your devotion and your compassion. We know that you can only be the best of the best by having it in your heart, and you do. The variety of services that our police department provides is truly amazing. You know, sometimes I think people think about police officers and we think about maybe speeding. You know, we think about crimes, but sometimes we don't think about each and every little piece of it. Crime prevention, trying to stop it from ever happening to begin with. Investigation, staff offering training programs on internet safety. Again, things we may not always stop to think about. Domestic violence, a huge piece, and something that so often touches people anywhere. Policing, there's so many topics, from our young people to our senior citizens who enjoy sitting on their porches at night simply because they know they're safe and they're in the arms of our police officers, even down to our animals. The Suffolk Police Department truly serves all Suffolkians. So I want to thank you for attending tonight's awards. I want to be the very first to say congratulations to everyone that leaves with an award, and I want to say to all of you, you're all award winners. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Johnson and members of City Council, Chief Bennett, and certainly our police officers, the workforce that really make a difference in our city. It's certainly a pleasure for me to be here, and as I was leaving the office today, I sort of thought a little bit about what I wanted to say. And it's really about the greatness of this evening. And one of the things that I hold dear when I think about greatness is that the price of it is responsibility. And when I think about the contributions that each of you make each and every day, I just want to say how much I appreciate the hard work, the dedication, and the commitment that you show towards the citizens of this great city. It's certainly a pleasure for us to honor you and what you do. And I want you to know that from the city administration, we appreciate everything you do each and every day. So once again, congratulations, and this is a night to celebrate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I'd like to invite Chief of Police Thomas Bennett and Deputy Chief Larry Wilson up for the presentation of the awards.
If you would, please try to come in the order in which I call your name to the stage, and if you would, please hold your applause until the citation has been read. Mr. Tim Kelly, Media and Community Relations Department. Partnering with the Suffolk Police Department through innovation and initiative, City of Suffolk Media and Relations person Tim Kelly worked with officers to direct and produce a series of videos for the Suffolk Police Department to demonstrate examples of acceptable and unacceptable police-citizen encounters. The video is a dedication to the Suffolk Police Department's mission statement, law enforcement excellence and public service through partnership with our community. Tim's willing participation and assistance allowed these videos to have high production value, emphasizing the police department's dedication to doing it the right way. For his contribution efforts, Tim Kelly is being recognized with a Citizens Award. Mr. Mac Theodore Scott. On September 27, 2011, officers initiated a traffic stop on a vehicle at Smith and Saratoga Street. All of the occupants fled the vehicle on foot. Further investigation into the traffic stop led the officers to believe that the contents inside the vehicle were stolen from the Credit Max auto sales on Carolina Road. While officers were on scene at the Credit Max, a witness, Mr. Mac Scott, came to the officer and advised he observed a black Buick vehicle drive up to the shed at the Credit Max and multiple subjects enter and exit the shed with items. Mr. Scott provided a written statement of what he observed and identified the vehicle on the traffic stop as being the same vehicle at the Credit Max. Due to Mr. Scott's assistance in this investigation, 2 suspects were ultimately arrested and charged with burglary, grand larceny, and possession of burglarious tools. Mr. Mac Scott is being recognized with a Citizens Award from the Suffolk Police Department. Mrs. Bonte Cunningham. Mrs. Cunningham is being recognized with a Citizens Award from the Suffolk Police Department due to her continued efforts assisting with the Law Enforcement Officers Ball. Ms. Cunningham was solely responsible for the planning and success of the auction and basket raffle at the 2011 event, held in February. Her efforts helped raise $1,300 in donations for the Genevieve Shelter for Battered Women. Mrs. Opal McLeod. On June 21, 2011, a suspect committed a strong-arm robbery and stole the victim's vehicle. An officer observed the vehicle and a vehicle pursuit ensued. The pursuit was terminated, however. The suspect continued on Godwin Boulevard until ultimately crashing into a telephone pole. Miss Opal McLeod heard the loud boom from the vehicle hitting the pole and spoke to the subject to ascertain if he was okay. The suspect fled on foot down Kings Highway. When Miss McLeod found out the police were looking for the suspect that took off running, she called Suffolk Police Dispatch and advised them the direction the suspect had fled in. Within seconds, officers were able to locate the suspect and take him into custody. Without assistance from Miss McLeod, this investigation would not have been a successful closure and the suspect may not have been located. Miss McLeod is being recognized with a Citizens Award from the Suffolk Police Department. Mr. Julius Martin and Mr. Steve Latham. On February 24th, 2011, Ms. Mason and Mr. Shelton observed a two-vehicle auto accident where one of the drivers was pinned beneath his vehicle. Ms. Mason and Mr. Shelton called 911. At the same time, both Mr. Martin and Mr. Latham were traveling the same area of the accident and stopped to assist. Mr. Shelton, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Latham quickly jumped into action and lifted the vehicle that pinned the victim. Due to Ms. Mason's medical experience, she was able to keep the victim's head still until paramedics arrived on scene and took over. Due to the combined efforts of Ms. Mason, Mr. Shelton, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Latham, they saved the life of the victim pinned underneath the car. For this reason, they are each being recognized with a Citizens Award from the Suffolk Police Department.
Sergeant Mark Erie, Officer Nicholas Walker. During the third quarter of 2011, Sergeant Erie was made aware from a citizen that her deadbolt was broken on her door and she was concerned that someone was coming into her residence when she was not there. Seeing that the deadbolt lock was not working properly, Sergeant Erie took it upon himself to purchase a new deadbolt from Miss Reed. On September 14, 2011, Sergeant Erie and Officer Walker went to Miss Reed's residence and put the new lock in for her. Officer Walker, being a former contractor prior to coming to the Suffolk Police Department, brought his personal tools to put the lock in place. Sergeant Erie and Officer Walker went above and beyond the call of duty to help out this citizen of our community. Tonight, Sergeant Erie and Officer Walker are being recognized for a Community Service Award. Auxiliary Sergeant Thompson, Auxiliary Officer Douglas DeLoach, Auxiliary Officer Carlton Nerney, Auxiliary Officer Andy Thomas, Auxiliary Officer John Dehan, Auxiliary Officer John King, Auxiliary Officer Keith Richards, and Traffic Assistance Officer Terry Suggs. During the calendar year of 2011, the Suffolk Police Auxiliary Police Officers contributed to over 1,600 support hours of volunteer time. This support included all city-sponsored special events and police department DUI checkpoints. When the hurricane came barreling through the city of Suffolk this past year, even though many of their own homes had sustained power losses and damage, they never once hesitated to volunteer their time to direct traffic at an intersection, to be an additional unit on the street, or to assist wherever needed. What makes these officers so exceptional is that they contribute all their time and dedication without compensation. Each of these auxiliary officers has had the same training and qualifications as any other officer does, and it's all on their own time in addition to maintaining full-time jobs. For their dedication to this police department and the city of Suffolk, tonight these auxiliary officers are being recognized with the Community Service Award. Officer Thompson. On December 21st, 2011, after receiving the call of a suspicious person in the area of Maryland Avenue, Officer Clinton located a subject that matched the description. The individual was found to be in possession of 2 GPS devices, a camera, and a checkbook. Officer Thompson interviewed the subject and was able to obtain a confession and the individual stealing items from the car. With Detective Hutt's assistance, they were able to gather further information into a previous theft. Officer Thompson, Officer Clinton, and Officer Hutt were able to charge the individual with 4 specific incidents. Tonight, these officers are being recognized with a departmental noteworthy performance. Master Police Officer Wild. On May 26, 2011, Master Police Officer Wild received information that several warrants were on file for a subject and that he may be located in the area of 1500 block of Holland Road. MPO Wild responded to that area and did locate the subject at 1555 Holland Road. MPO Wild took the subject into custody without incident and located on his person 74 capsules of heroin and crack cocaine. Further investigation led to locating drug paraphernalia inside the subject's vehicle. Subsequently, MPO Wild was able to obtain a confession of the subject's drug distribution, and tonight he is being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Officer Lurie. Officer Antinarelli. Officer Walker. During a 3-month period, Officer Walker issued 285 traffic summonses ranging from equipment violations, suspended operator's license, expired registration, and inspection stickers to window tint. All summonses were self-initiated as Officer Walker had not been a radar certified at the time and still produced high numbers, all the while responding to calls for services. Officer Walker's strong enforcement and police presence in this area contributed to citizens becoming more aware of their surroundings, driving slower, and having fewer accidents. Officer Walker is being recognized with a noteworthy performance award. Goodwin's not here. Master Police Officer Kane. On April 7, 2011, Master Police Officer Jordan initiated a traffic stop on Hall Avenue. Both the driver and the passenger fled on foot. MPO Jordan gave chase to the driver and was able to provide pertinent descriptions of the driver, and witnesses observed him running into Homer's Drive-In. Assisting Officer MPO Kane responded to Homer's Drive-In, where he located and took the driver into custody. The driver was later charged with possession with the intent to distribute 28 capsules of heroin, possession of marijuana, obstruction of justice, attempt to elude, and driving while revoked. Master Police Officer Kane is being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Officer DeLugo. On October 11, 2011, Officer DeLugo initiated a traffic stop on a vehicle for a minor traffic offense. Officer DeLugo noticed extreme nervousness from the driver and his delayed responses to the questions that were being asked of him. Upon further investigation, Officer DeLugo discovered the driver was in possession of a concealed .45 caliber handgun, which was located under the driver's seat. The handgun was run for a stolen check and came back positively identified as being stolen from a residential burglary in the city of Suffolk in the earlier part of the year. The recovery of this handgun produced successful leads for that burglary investigation. Tonight, Officer DeLugo is being recognized with a departmental noteworthy performance. Sergeant Gary Myrick. On February 2011, an unknown subject entered the house of video on Holland Road and committed an armed robbery. Information was gained that described the type of vehicle driven by the suspect and that he had entered the Food Lion next door prior to entering the store. The video surveillance from the Food Lion matched the description of the subject in the robbery. Shortly after, Sergeant Myrick, located a vehicle matching the suspect vehicle and a suspect matching the description. The subject was detained and a show-up was done with one of the victims. After a positive identification was made, the suspect was arrested. A large amount of cash and cocaine was found to be in possession of the suspect. Detective Sergeant Myrick is being recognized with a noteworthy performance award. Investigator Jennifer Pond. Special Investigations personnel MPO White, MPO Dodson, Investigator Pond, and Investigator Weatherly assisted in conducting several months of investigative efforts and innovative investigative strategies to develop probable cause for a search warrant that led to the largest asset seizure in the city of Suffolk. MPO White, MPO Dodson, Investigator Pond, and Investigator Weatherly are being recognized with a departmental noteworthy performance. ECO Gale. On January 17, 2011, emergency communications operator Rachel Gale took a call from a frantic individual concerning her daughter who was having a baby. ECO Gale maintained her composure and calmness while talking with the caller to determine that the baby was out. ECO Gale gave step-by-step pre-arrival and care instructions until fire and rescue units arrived on scene to take over. ECO Gale's calmness, professionalism, and dedication to her job, along with the new EMD program, enabled her to provide the caller with instructions needed for a successful outcome. Emergency Communications Operator Gale is being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Officer Kenneth Cross. On November 15, 2011, two female subjects were sitting in their car behind a Michi's restaurant in the 100 block of East Washington Street when they were approached by a male wearing a bandana over his face and displaying a handgun. The male opened the car door and demanded money and then fled on foot with another male subject. Officer Cross, who had received a description of the possible suspect vehicle, located the vehicle and was able to detain all subjects until a positive identification was made. The subjects ultimately confessed to the incident and were charged. Tonight, Officer Cross is being recognized with a departmental noteworthy performance. Sergeant Smith, Officer P. Johnson, Officer T. Kane, Officer J. Rivera, Officer P. Hutta. On May 20th, 2011, members of the Neighborhood Enforcement Team and 2 members of the Special Investigation Unit launched Operation Bagel. Operation Bagel was created to combat the open-air drug market in the Jericho area of the city. Due to skillful investigations, ongoing surveillance, and enforcement action, probable cause was established to arrest 4 individuals. The 4 individuals were arrested on 8 warrants, 64 rocks of cocaine were recovered, 19 bags of powdered cocaine, and $700 in cash was seized. This mission was a success due to the exemplary planning, police work, and execution. Sergeant Smith, Officer Kane, Officer Rivera, Officer Johnson, Officer Hutta are being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Deborah Ricker. On July 9, 2011, the BB&T Bank on Holland Road was robbed. The suspect gave the clerk a note demanding money. After no leads and no crime line response, the case went cold. However, Ms. Ricker continued her search with the resources she had available. Ms. Ricker was able to use a bank site available to bank agencies to distribute information about bank robberies and found that one matched the BB&T robbery. She was able to match the suspect that was in custody for a bank robbery in Mobile, Alabama, to our robbery in Suffolk. Not only did the suspect match the physical description of the robbery, but the vehicle he fled in also matched. The information allowed detectives to make contact with Mobile police and the FBI, who were willing to assist in the prosecution of this offender. Deborah Ricker is being recognized with a noteworthy performance.
What wasn't said, and I want to note that she made this case, and this guy had robbed banks all over the East Coast and the southern part of the United States. She's done multiple bank robberies. And her initiative and good police work led to the initial arrest, which led to a bunch of other charges. Congratulations.
Detective Balzer. On February 24, 2011, officers were dispatched to a disturbance where allegations of a sexual assault involving a minor had occurred. After a lengthy ordeal and numerous interviews, the suspect in the allegations finally admitted to sexually molesting the child in the household. Warrants for multiple offenses were executed on the suspect. Due to the nature of this crime, suspects rarely admit guilt, and cases are difficult to process involving a younger juvenile. Detective Balzer's persistence led to the successful outcome of this case, and she is being recognized with a noteworthy performance award. Investigator Pond. Investigator Pond and Investigator Lyons conducted a 4-day investigation into 2 stolen firearms that were in the process of being sold to convicted felons. The firearms were stolen just prior to the investigation from a residential burglary, which was ultimately uncovered due to the work of these 2 investigators. During the investigation, 5 individuals were arrested and charged. Investigator Pond is being recognized with a noteworthy performance award. Detective Sergeant Alfred Chandler. On October 20th, 2011, dispatch received a call of a subject that was walking on the North Broad Street Bridge who was threatening to jump. Family members advised the subject had been fighting with his girlfriend and had recently lost a close friend. Detective Sergeant Chandler arrived to find the subject looking over the side of the concrete barrier. The subject became confrontational with Sergeant Chandler, but Sergeant Chandler was able to ultimately talk him away from the side and take him into custody. Tonight, Detective Sergeant Chandler is being recognized with a departmental noteworthy performance. ECO Gale, ECO Holloman, ECO Gray, and ECO Davenport. On the morning of January 8, 2011, poor weather conditions in the city of Suffolk were making for unsafe and dangerous driving. During this time frame alone, the city experienced approximately 60 vehicle accidents, including 1 fatality. Emergency communications operators Gale, Holloman, Gray, and Davenport performed at extraordinary levels due to the volume of calls, disseminating information, and a large amount of radio traffic on all channels. The emergency communications operators maintained their professionalism and overcame the adversity they faced in a commendable manner. Emergency communications operator Gale, Holloman, Gray, and Davenport are being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Officer Crawley and SRO Weaver. During the fourth quarter of 2011, Officer Crawley and SRO Weaver made it their personal mission to ensure the citizens of Suffolk have safer highways. These officers contributed several initiatives to slow speeders and educated drivers on the hazards of the roads. Officer Crawley assisted in the organization of all DUI checkpoints, school safety checkpoints, and YOVASO, Youth of Virginia Speak Out, a program designed to educate students at the middle and high school level about vehicle safety. Officer Crawley and SRO Weaver have been instrumental in implementing driver awareness training at Nansen River High School. The 2 officers, working in conjunction with school administrators, staged a mock fatality scene to educate the youth on drunk and text driving hazards. All these self-initiated activities show their dedication to the community and the citizens they serve. Tonight, these officers are being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Detective Balzer. On April 13, 2011, the Suffolk Police Department Detective Bureau was notified by Southampton County Sheriff's Office of a runaway juvenile that was at a residence in Suffolk. With assistance from Uniform Patrol, the juvenile was located at the residence and returned back to the mother. Detective Balzer then began an investigation to determine why the juvenile was permitted to be at the residence, as the male was a registered sex offender, in order to have no contact with juveniles nor to use any social networking sites such as Facebook. Detective Balzer established probable cause and secured an arrest warrant for the subject and the search warrant for the residence. Detective Jones, Shear, and Balzer conducted surveillance and executed his traffic stop and were able to take him into custody. He was then interviewed, and the male, who originally denied wrongdoings, after skillful interrogation, was able to obtain a full confession from the male. The work of these detectives led to the arrest of a sexual predator. Detective Balzer is being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Master Police Officer Duffy McLam, Officer David Root, Senior Police Officer Timothy Mason, and Motor Vehicle Inspector Robert Dawson. Throughout the fourth quarter and entire year of 2011, the Suffolk Police Department Motor Carrier Unit conducted over 250 commercial motor vehicle inspections, resulting in 150 weight violations with 138 summonses issued. These inspections range from hazardous materials to small companies hauling equipment. These violations had a liquidated damage assessment of over $235,800. The monetary funds collected made a huge impact to help build and repair the City of Suffolk's roadways. In addition to working all motor vehicle inspections, the unit assisted in multiple special events during the fourth quarter, to include Peanut Fest, Driver Days, and the Christmas Parade. Tonight, these officers of the Suffolk Police Department Motor Carrier Unit are being recognized with a noteworthy performance.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Cunningham. Through innovation and initiative, Sergeant Cunningham, with other listed officers, created and assisted with directing and producing a series of videos for the Suffolk Police Department to demonstrate examples of acceptable and unacceptable Police Citizens Counters. The video is a dedication to the Suffolk Police Department's mission statement, law enforcement excellence, and public service throughout partnership with our community. Partnering with the city's Media and Community Relations Department allowed these videos to have a high production value, emphasizing the department's dedication to doing the right thing and its mission statement through the media. For his effort, he is being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Officer Thompson. On April 27, 2011, Officer Thompson responded to a call of an attempted breaking and entering at Neighborhood Supermarket on 716 West Washington Street. Based on the witness description of the suspect and Officer Thompson's excellent observation skills, he located the suspect on Lincoln Avenue and detained him. Officer Thompson then assisted the detectives in obtaining a full confession from the suspect. Officer Thompson's performance was instrumental in capturing and charging the offender with this incident. Officer Thompson is being recognized with a noteworthy performance. Master Police Officer Tyson Wild. On May 22, 2011, the Suffolk Emergency Communications Center received a 911 call from a subject advising his brother had fired a gun and was talking about suicide. MPO Wild was the initial responding officer to the scene. MPO Wild took the initiative to make contact with the barricaded subject in the residence and on his own personal cell phone. Without formal hostage negotiation training but excellent interpersonal skills, MPO Wild was able to establish a rapport with the barricaded subject. Lieutenant Davenport was able to establish a rapport with the subject and spent numerous hours on the phone with the subject. A loss of phone contact forced Lieutenant Davenport to reestablish contact with the subject at the front door of the residence, putting his own self in harm's way. Lieutenant Davenport was able to convince the barricaded subject to come out of the residence unarmed and to turn himself into the police. Both MPO Wild and Lieutenant Davenport combined spent multiple hours on the phone with the barricaded subject to establish a rapport and ultimately bringing the matter to a successful resolution. MPO Wild is being recognized with a departmental commendation. Officer Walker, Officer Crawley. During the fourth quarter 2011, the Suffolk Police Department solicited for officers to submit their ideas and a cost analysis for a traffic plan. These officers stepped up to the challenge, and Officer Nicholas Walker, Officer Eric Crawley, and Officer Cassandra Garvin, with their ideas being unique. They were well thought out and innovative, and each plan was incorporated to make the master plan. While there was a wide range of work put into each of these plans, the mere submission alone of their ideas demonstrates their work ethic and desire to impact the community. Not only did they have a vision for the work that was needed, they did the necessary research to determine the viability of their plan, assessed the costs, and provided the steps necessary to make the plan easily implementable. Tonight, these officers are being recognized with a departmental commendation.
Officer P. Hutta and Officer P. Johnson and Officer Farman. Officer Hutta, Officer Johnson, and Officer Farman, all members of the Neighborhood Enforcement Team North, have been involved in multiple arrests, surveillance operations, and search warrants, and continue to make a positive impact on the community they serve. As a result of their hard work during the first quarter of 2011, they were able to execute 10 search warrants, conduct 2 surveillance operations that resulted in 5 gang members being charged and narcotics recovered, conduct internet stings, and obtain over 58 counts of prescription fraud and attempt possession with intent to distribute of prescription drugs. These investigations resulted in charges such as hazing of youth gang members, gang participation, gang recruitment, possession of marijuana, possession of alcohol by underage persons, possessions of tobacco by underage persons, possession with intent to distribute cocaine, and possessing a shank at Western Tidewater Regional Jail. Tonight, Officer Hutta, Officer Johnson, and Officer Farman are all being recognized with a departmental commendation. Emergency Communications Call Taker Cassandra Baker. Emergency Communications Officer Supervisor Del Shannon. Okay. On May 24th, 2011, the city of Suffolk suffered a severe storm that produced heavy rain, damaging winds, and severe lightning. The storm caused extensive power outages through the city and quickly left a number of major intersections without traffic signals. The city experienced a number of down power lines and trees in houses. In just short of a 5-hour time span, the Emergency Communications Center handled over 802 calls for service. The Emergency Communications Center handled each call professionally and calmly despite the chaos that they were encountering. ECO Supervisor Shannon and Emergency Communication Call Taker Baker never once hesitated to continue to work over from the previous shift, and ECO Hughes, without hesitation, came in on her assigned day off to assist. Emergency Communication Call Taker Cassandra Baker, ECO Aaron Hughes, and Emergency Communications Supervisor Del Shannon are being awarded a departmental commendation.
Emergency Communications Operator Brandy Davenport. Emergency Communications Operator Brandy Davenport, seeing a need to improve upon the training for call takers in the Emergency Communications Center, took the initiative without prompting to improve upon the center's process. She worked diligently over the past quarter, updating and rewriting the training manual for emergency communications call taker positions, in addition to her daily functions. ECO Brandy Davenport took the time to rewrite all the position mandated tests in order for them to be entered into the departmental training site, Power DMS, for better tracking of the training. Her continued efforts to ensure quality training for this position demonstrated her dedication to Emergency Communications Center and all its operators. Tonight, she is being recognized with a departmental commendation. Detective Sergeant Alfred Chandler. Detective Sergeant Alfred Chandler noticed some individuals standing outside in the rain and discovered that there was an active house fire when it was inquired upon him whether he had a fire extinguisher. Sergeant Chandler, without hesitation, retrieved his fire extinguisher and entered the smoke-filled room. Although the house was filled with smoke, Sergeant Chandler continued to navigate through the home to find the source of the fire. Once it was located, Sergeant Chandler quickly extinguished the fire. Due to Sergeant Chandler's quick actions, the home was spared of any significant damage, and tonight he is being recognized with a departmental commendation. Sergeant Isaac Lopez. As a newly promoted sergeant assigned to the midnight shift, Sergeant Lopez was able to learn quickly, multitask, and assist with calls for service, and often acted in a lieutenant's capacity in his absence, and he did so all the while learning his new supervisory responsibilities. It is for his dedication to his job and the employees that work for him that earned him this award tonight. His camaraderie and genuine concern helped build the morale of his squad and developed it into a well-cohesive unit. Sergeant Lopez is a lead-from-the-front supervisor that always leads by example, and that leadership earned him a nomination for Supervisor of the Year from his peers. In the words of a subordinate, Sergeant Lopez exemplifies a vigorous work ethic and shows that teamwork can overcome any negative demand, and his positive attitude always prevailed. Tonight, Sergeant Lopez is being recognized with a departmental commendation. Senior Police Officer Paul Hutta, Officer Robert Farman, Officer Philip Johnson. On November 25, 2011, the two residents in the northern section of the city of Suffolk were burglarized with thieves stealing jewelry and electronics. The officers and detective began a collaborated investigation that developed into leads to where the stolen items were sold. A visit to the location provided security camera footage of the items being sold. Utilizing a confidential informant, the officers were able to purchase 2 additional items that were stolen from a juvenile suspect and then traced phone calls made on a stolen cell phone to another juvenile suspect's home. All 3 suspects were identified and taken into custody. Once in custody, the detective was able to obtain full confessions from the suspects, and all were charged with numerous offenses related to these burglaries. Tonight, these officers are being recognized with a departmental commendation. Officer Walker. During the second quarter, Officer Walker has issued 233 traffic summonses for a number of related offenses. During the departmental initiative on click it or ticket enforcement, Officer Walker had the highest productivity with over 50 issued seatbelt and child restraint violations. In addition, Officer Walker took on a community issue involving vandalism and trespassing in the Kilby Shores area of the city on property owned by Dominion Power. Working with the citizens and Dominion Power, a plan of action was established to prevent future incidents. Officer Walker's positive attitude, motivation, and initiative has shown his dedication to the job and the community. Tonight, Officer Walker is being recognized with a departmental commendation. Officer Cross. Suffolk Police Department Officer of the Quarter, first quarter 2011. Officer Kenneth Cross has been selected as the Officer of the Quarter for the first quarter 2011. Officer Cross's performance this quarter has been nothing less than exemplary, and as a result of his dedication and efforts, several investigations have been able to be successfully cleared with an arrest of the suspect. In one specific incident on February 17, 2011, while on his way to work, Officer Cross heard the call of a robbery at the Southern Food Store. Officer Cross observed 2 subjects in the area, but at the time of observance, nothing had been reported taken from the business. Officer Cross completed field contacts on both subjects and had to release them. It was later discovered that items were in fact taken during the robbery from the store, and it was the same items that one of the stopped subjects had in his possession. Once store surveillance video was viewed, the subject stopped by Officer Cross was later identified as the offender. In addition, on February 24, 2011, at 1 o'clock in the morning, Officer Cross noticed headlights through the glass bay doors of the Kramer Tire on North Main Street. He then observed a suspicious vehicle leaving, loaded with tires in the back seat. Officer Cross conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle, and both the passenger and the driver admitted to taking the tires from the property for financial gain. Both suspects were charged with numerous felonious larceny offenses, and tonight he's being recognized as Suffolk Police Department Officer of the Quarter, first quarter. Master Police Officer Tyson Wild. Suffolk Police Department Officer of the Quarter, second quarter 2011. Master Police Officer Tyson Wild has been selected as Officer of the Quarter for the second quarter 2011. On May 22, 2011, MPO Wild took initiative in personally contacting a barricaded subject and forming a rapport with him until the Departmental Trade Negotiator arrived on scene. The subject was ultimately successfully taken into custody without incident. On May 25, 2011, MPO Wild received information that several warrants were on file for the subject believed to be in 1500 block of Harlem Road. MPO Wild located the subject and took him into custody without incident. During this arrest, 74 capsules of heroin and crack cocaine were recovered. MPO Wild assisted Officer Thompson on a traffic stop with a wanted subject. While attempting to arrest the subject, he resisted and fled on foot. Both officers gave chase. During the chase, the subject pulled a handgun from his waistband and dropped it, and subsequently a second handgun was pulled but also dropped. The subject was taken into custody without any further incident. As Master Police Officer and Canine Officer of Suffolk Police Department, MPO Wild has shown a positive attitude, untiring work ethic, excellent police work, and dedication to his job, the community, and the department. MPO Wild is being recognized as Suffolk Police Officer Department Officer of the Quarter for second quarter. Officer Clifton Sessoms. Suffolk Police Department Officer of the Quarter, third quarter, 2011. Officer Clifton Systems has been selected as Officer of the Quarter for the third quarter, 2011. As a uniformed patrol officer, Officer Systems has distinguished himself ahead of his peers for his outstanding work ethic and production. During the third quarter 2011, Officer Systems has issued 128 summonses, made 58 arrests, 19 of which were self-initiated, 5 narcotics-related offenses. As noted example, Officer Systems' key observation led him to stopping an erratic vehicle that had multiple equipment violations. Officer Systems' traffic stop resulted in the recovery of a .38 caliber handgun, marijuana, packing materials, syringes, digital scales, and 3 air guns fashioned to mimic real weapons, along with some face masks. This is typical of Officer Systems' diligent work and consistent work ethic, and tonight he is being recognized as Suffolk Police Department Officer of the Quarter, third quarter. Senior Police Officer Thomas Kane. Suffolk Police Department Officer of the Quarter, fourth quarter, 2011. Officer Thomas Kane has been selected as Officer of the Quarter for fourth quarter, 2011. SPO Kane has stepped up as an informal leader to his unit and has been responsible for multiple successful gang investigations this period. Senior Police Officer Kane launched an extensive investigation into a gang who called themselves 5 Money Mafia, STG, that resulted in 3 search warrants, 3 arrests, and multiple charges. In addition, he was responsible for a crushing blow to the street gang known as the Lloyd Street Gang, or LSG. He worked diligently to bring a successful investigation to closure when on October 27, 2011, Net South, along with the assistance of Net North and SIU, executed 4 search warrants on LSG gang members' residences. These search warrants yielded firearms, narcotics, and gang paraphernalia. 4 members of this gang were subsequently arrested and 2 are facing charges as a result of the investigation. For Officers Kane's steadfast dedication and initiatives to eradicate any gang activity in the city of Suffolk, it's highly commendable, and tonight he is being recognized as Officer of the Quarter, fourth quarter. Officer Year 2011, Officer Kenneth Cross. Sergeant Timothy Smith. Suffolk Police Department Supervisor of the Year. Sergeant Timothy Smith. Sergeant Timothy Smith has been chosen as the 2011 Suffolk Police Department Supervisor of the Year. As Supervisor of the Neighborhood Enforcement Team South, Sergeant Smith's team has been directly responsible for the dismantling of LSG, Lloyd Street Gang, 5 Money Mafia, LKP, Lake Kennedy Posse, and Hoffa Girls. Net South has obtained 26 gang participation charges, resulted in 15 gang-related search warrants and multiple other felonious offenses. During these search warrants, numerous narcotics, weapons, vehicles, and cash were seized. As Supervisor of Net North, his team was responsible for several successful operations to include the dismantling of local gangs, ABM, All About Money, and BGN. In addition to his successful gang enforcement, Sergeant Smith's team investigated a contract security guard who employed convicted felons to work as armed security at private events in the city. As a result of the investigation, 3 search warrants were executed in the city of Newport News to gather information to successfully prosecute this case. Sergeant Smith's proactive leadership has been instrumental in the overall tremendous success of his unit. Tonight, Sergeant Smith is being honored as the Suffolk Police Department Supervisor of the Year. Officer Greer. On March 15, 2011, Officer Greer responded to a cardiac arrest call involving a subject that had become ill and lost consciousness. Officer Greer took immediate action and began to utilize his AED, and Officer Greer immediately began to perform CPR. He continued his efforts for approximately 4 minutes when the victim began to breathe again. Due to Officer Greer's immediate action, the victim was revived and breathing on his own. Officer Greer is being recognized with the Departmental Life-Saving Award. EC call taker Cassandra Baker. On October 9, 2011, EC call taker Cassandra Baker received a call in reference to an individual that had possibly overdosed and was not breathing. Call taker Baker took control of the call, attempting to calm the distraught caller. Call taker Baker was attempting to provide step-by-step instructions to the caller when the line was disconnected. Call taker Baker reestablished connection and continued to reassure the caller that he was the victim's heartbeat and that he was doing a good job. Call taker Baker walked the caller through the steps of CPR and continued until rescue units were able to arrive. Call taker Baker's professionalism, persistence, and encouragement to the caller was a vital link in saving the life of this victim. EC call taker Cassandra Baker is being recognized with the Departmental Life-Saving Award. The chief would like me to read a letter in reference to all the personnel that worked Hurricane Irene, because we didn't want to read off 100 and some awards. So to all personnel from Chief Thomas E. Bennett, during the period of August 26, 2011 through August 28, 2011, the city of Suffolk experienced a natural disaster as Hurricane Irene came barreling through. The city experienced extensive hours of high winds, relentless rain, and flooding, which left many residents without power for hours on end. There were thousands of calls for services, from hundreds of motor vehicle accidents, downed trees and power lines, and flooded roadways, in addition to all the normal calls received on a daily basis. The officers and staff of the police department worked in an excess of 4,000 man-hours to assist the citizens of the city during this trying time. I want to personally thank each of you for your loyalty and dedication to duty.
I'm going to ask Captain Rittenhouse and retired Sergeant McKenzie to please come forward for a special presentation. Yeah.
Sergeant Michael McKenzie. Sergeant Mike McKenzie joined the Suffolk Police Department on August 1st, 1983 after graduating from Virginia Tech. He spent his career in a variety of specialized units within the department. He previously served as a field training officer, and I will tell you from personal experience that the roots of the Mike McKenzie field training officer tree run deep throughout the Suffolk Police Department. He has served the department as a motorcycle officer, as a member of the fatal crash team, as a general instructor and a radar instructor, previously served in the Special Investigations Unit, the Criminal Investigations Unit, the Staff Inspections Unit, the Special Operations Unit. He has been recognized as an Officer of the Quarter in 1995. During his career, Sergeant McKenzie received 3 departmental commendations. Tonight, we recognize Sergeant Mike McKenzie in his retirement, which was effective December 1, 2011, for 28 and a half years of service to this community.
Before I say a few words about Mike, I think it's appropriate that we recognize his wife, Wanda, and his family that's here tonight. Thank you all for your support. As all of us here know, it takes a good support system for a police officer to start out and work a whole career, 30 years like Mike did. He didn't do it by himself. He had a lot of support over the years, and thank you all for what you've done for Mike. I want to tell a quick story. Y'all might not find it interesting, but anytime I think about Mike, I kind of think about what I'm getting ready to tell you. You know how you're involved in situations, or you go somewhere and you see someone and you think, God, I know that guy. That face is familiar, but you just can't place him. For most of us cops, it's because it's someone we've arrested years ago. That's certainly not the situation with me and him, but when I came here almost 3 years now, almost 3 years ago, when I first saw Mike, I had that feeling, and I just knew I knew him, but I couldn't place him. And every time I saw him for the next 2 or 3 months, that thought hit me, where have I seen this guy before? And I was really too embarrassed to come right out and ask him. And after I'd been here about 6 months, I went to a DUI checkpoint one night. And I had the occasion to talk to Mike a little bit that night, more than we usually would. And come to find out, when we were both very young men, before we had even started our careers, we were in college together at the same place. We both went to Virginia Tech. We also were both involved with the football program at Virginia Tech, and I believe we even lived in the same dorm for a little bit. But as we talked, we learned all of that, and I thought it was significant to me that, we started out kind of young, doing the same things. 30 years passed. I had kind of forgot. I'm sure he forgot me too. But then when we're on the back end of our careers, here we are working on the Suffolk Police Department together. So, I always found that kind of interesting. It's funny how life is. But anyway, Mike, with regard to your service for this department, I want to say, we've only known each other in a work environment for 3 years, but I've always known that you were a very solid supervisor. You were someone that I could count on, that your supervisors could count on. I know you're dedicated to this department, and you always will be. You're a person that led by example, and you're a person or a supervisor that many young officers looked up to. And tonight, it's my privilege to present you with a small token of the department's appreciation. I'm going to ask Captain Rittenhouse to bring it over for me. This is what we call a shadow box. It has I better look at it before I tell you what it has in it. It does. It has a uniform shirt, and you can see it has the police patch. It has different insignias for his rank and different types of things he was involved in during his career at the Suffolk Police Department. So, Mike, I'm pleased to present that to you. I hope you hang that up on a wall. Many of us are now getting them and have them, and I have one in my office, and I've got it right in the middle of my wall. I'm always proud to look up to that and remember my career, and I hope you do too. Thank you. Congratulations. I also have your retired ID that says retired police sergeant, your retired badge. Hopefully you won't need this anytime in the near future. Mike, thank you for your service to the citizens of Suffolk for the past 25 years. Thank you for making this police department a much better police department. And I know I speak for everyone here tonight in wishing you the very best in your retirement. Congratulations. I'll let Mike say a couple of words.
Just real quick, I enjoyed my 28 years with the city. Had some good times, worked with some great people, but retirement's the way to go.
In closing tonight, I want to say that we've heard many, many stories of outstanding performance by our employees. Day in and day out, y'all work very hard to protect the citizens of this city. And I don't want a single one of y'all to leave here tonight without knowing how much your dedication and hard work is truly appreciated by everyone here, and I know our citizens. Nobody in this room knows how many times I get calls, A lot of times they're anonymous. I'll get emails that people don't want me to know who they are. I'll get letters, a lot of anonymous letters. And they always seem to come at a time I need a little cheering up once in a while. And I get a whole lot of letters and emails and correspondence regarding something special that our people did for someone, a difference that y'all made in somebody's life. And I tell our new recruits all the time that most people don't have contact with police. A lot of people never will have contact at all with a policeman in their life. So it's absolutely critical that when we have contact with everybody, that it's a positive contact. Can't always be, but a lot of times it can be. And we need to make sure it is for people because it gives them a lasting impression, not only on the Suffolk Police Department, but on our profession in general. And when I get these calls and letters and things, it really makes me feel good because I know we're out there doing that. So thank you all for everything you do. I'm proud to be your chief. I'm proud of everything that y'all were recognized tonight for, and I know you'll keep up the good work in the future. So thank you very much. I'm now going to ask Major Burks to come forward and close with the benediction.
And I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to say a great thank you to our awards committee members. If you guys could come to the front here and be recognized. They worked very hard from the decorations to deciding on the awards, and also our cook, J.C. Patterson, retired lieutenant, and our Captain Patterson cooking tonight. We thank you. And I want to thank each of you for your attendance at tonight's recognition ceremony. It's a testimony to the greatness of both our employees and our community. Each person recognized here tonight is a hero in their own way. So let's give them all again a round of applause. Let's go ahead and close with a word of prayer. Father God, we thank you so much for the opportunity to honor men and women tonight who are dedicated either as officers on this department, as volunteers, as citizens, as call takers. Father, we are just so grateful that you give us the ability to do the jobs that we do. We thank you for the protection that you provide. We thank you that you are a God of justice and that we serve a just God. Thank you for all that you've given us, and Lord, I pray for your protection over these men and women tonight as we leave here and throughout the coming days. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.